Welcome to the February installment of Community Focus, presented by the Friends of MCTV. I'm your host, John McPeak. Every month, this program features news about upcoming activities in the greater Midland area. This month, our guests include folks from the Midland County Historical Society, Lamb of God Midland, Midland Firefighters Youth Foundation, and the Midland chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha in collaboration with the Midland Community Orchestra. Joining us today to lead off our program is Jake Huss, the Manager of Historic Programs and Exhibitions at the Midland Center for the Arts. Welcome to Community Focus.
Well, thank you, and thanks for having me, John.
Well, Jake, the Midland County Historical Society has several series and exhibitions scheduled for 2020. Can you give us an overview of those?
Certainly. We have kind of a slurry of activity here at the beginning of February. We're opening up our 2020 Visions exhibit, which we'll be talking about a little later. We also have a Heritage Series program on February 7th. That's going to be over at our Doan building. And then we're doing February 1st, so it'll probably have already passed, but we're doing our Becauses and Events. That's a full-day symposium where we have speakers and panels come in, just to give the audience of Midland here something to do, something to enjoy.
Okay, now the Heritage Series, that's a series of events, quarterly?
And
what's the setup? What is the program like in each time?
Sure. So they're quarterly events, and typically we have a presenter or presenters. In the case of the upcoming February 7th, we actually have two presenters, and it's going to be more of a conversation between the two of them. In the past, we've had people who do lectures. We've had people who do wider presentations with PowerPoints and things. So it really varies just depending on who the guest is, who our presenter is. But we always have fun folks.
And so the next presentation in the Heritage Series is the personal perspectives growing up in the Jim Crow South. Tell us about it.
All right, well, that's going to be done by two individuals, local Midland individuals, Bertha Vaughn and Ernest Carter. Both of these individuals are African American, and they grew up in the Jim Crow South. Bertha Vaughn grew up in South Carolina, and Ernie Carter grew up in Mississippi. So they're just going to go and have a little conversation. Bertha's going to give an overview kind of what Jim Crow means, what the laws stated, and then they're going to have a talk about how it actually affected their lives growing up. And I've had the opportunity to sit down with them for an hour to kind of go over the presentation, what they want to talk about. It's going to be fantastic. As I said, they both consider Midland their town now because they have both been here for 40 some odd years each. They were both scouted and recruited from college to come up to work in Midland. Bertha worked at Dow for many years, and Ernest Carter was an educator here in Midland Public Schools. So they'll be talking a little bit about that as well, as they moved from the South and came to the North, and some of their experiences here in raising children in Michigan. So they'll cover a broad range of things.
And that will there be a chance for a discussion with the audience? Any questions and answers?
There will be. We'll be having a Q&A session with that, and what we'll be doing is providing the audience with some index cards and pens, so you can just write down a question. As Bertha and Ernie are talking, you can write down your question, pass it over to a runner that we'll have available. They'll get it up to our presenters, who will be able to read it and kind of answer those questions, and hopefully give the folks who come some good information.
Now, you mentioned it was Friday, February 7th. Where and when?
So it's going to be at 7:30 p.m., and that'll be in the Solutions Room over at our Doan building right on Main Street.
Okay.
And we'll have some cookies and light refreshments, some coffee available.
Tell us more about the Center's Perspective series.
Sure. So the Perspective series came about this year because one of our individuals from programming was looking over different things that not only the A.B. Dow Museum and the Historical Society were doing, but some of our programming that we were bringing in as well. And she noticed that we were, without really even realizing it or talking to each other about it, really highlighting women with a series of events. So we took that and ran with it, and we created the Perspective series, which is this umbrella situation where we not only have our Historical Society 2020 Visions exhibit, which is opening in the main center building, as well as later there'll be an addendum to that opening at our Doan building. And that's a wonderful exhibit going up, talking about the past 100 years in women's history, as well as highlighting a lot of local women. And it's volunteer curated. It was largely curated by Dr. Jennifer Vanette, and she's been fantastic to work with, so we're really excited to see this all come together and open. And that exhibit is actually open and ready for people to walk through. Not only that, running at the same time, we have our Redefining Representations exhibit, which is the Women of the 116th Congress.
I see. You also, here have some others. February 11th is the Women's STEM Night. This is at the center.
This is at the center.
February 19th, the photographer Elizabeth Herman. And as far as into March 20th, Hearsay, a Storytelling event. So.
And Elizabeth Herman is going to be really interesting. She's one of the photographers that actually worked with the Congresswomen to get the pictures that are being shown in the Redefining Representation. So you're going to have her there with her work, able to do a little talk with the audience. So that should be a really good time as well.
So for more information or to purchase tickets for any of these events, that's the ticket office at the center?
Certainly. You can go through the ticket office, and I can give the phone right here at 989-631-8250. These are also all events that you can purchase tickets at the door. They're listed online. Many of them are on our Facebook. That's always a good way to find a quick link onto our website to whatever you're looking for as well.
Well, Jake, thank you for joining us on Community Focus to give us some information on the Midland County Historical Society programs.
Thank you for having me.
Our next guest is from Lamb of God Midland with information on their upcoming concerts.